Hello, hello, my lovely human, and welcome back to Women When Fueled. Today, we're diving into something so many of us feel, but rarely say out loud: the evolving nature of adult friendships. I'm sharing a few personal reflections and unpacking how proximity, timing, and energy, Mel Robbins' 3 pillars of friendship, can be expanded into something more honest, more spacious, and more true to where we are right now. This episode was sparked by a soul-filling yet eye-opening visit with a childhood friend, and inspired by the beautiful reminder inside Mel Robbins' Let Them theory. Together, we'll explore small but powerful ways to nurture the friendships that fuel us, and how to lovingly release the ones that no longer do. Before we jump in, as always, a quick note. Women When Fueled is for entertainment and connection purposes only. It's not a substitute for professional advice or your lived experience. This episode may include light conversational cursing, so keep that in mind if little ears are around. I truly believe that this conversation, and so many like it, are necessary on the path to growth, self-trust, and self-love. I can't wait to hear what sparks in you. I'm coming to you live from my kitchen table in hopes that my toddlers don't wake up in the next 5 minutes and that my dog stays laying down by the door so that there isn't too much noise to compete with. But if we do end up in a situation where there's a lot of hubbub around me, I hope you're going to have as much fun with it as I am. The topic on my heart, on my mind at the moment is adult friendships. And what kind of brought this on was last week, a friend that I've had since we were 13 and we're now 30. This friendship means so much to me. It's built on a foundation of love and trust and care. And statistically, this friendship shouldn't have lasted, if we're being real. And off of that, seeing her last week a few times and being able to sit down at a table and just talk to her and only her for the first time in probably a decade, probably since right after high school. It's been a really long time since I've just been able to make eye contact with her and only her and chat about life. And those conversations and those experiences led me to remember the concepts from the Let Them theory by Mel Robbins, where she discusses adult friendships. And a couple months ago, as I read through this section of the book, there were a lot of, well, yeah, of course, obviously that's how that works. And kind of like, oh yeah, duh, I guess that is how I do it. Moments as I read through. There were a lot of moments where I've related to the advice being given because I have done those things. But as I dug a little bit deeper into the concepts that she was writing about and into her interviews, realizing that this is a really common struggle. This is something that people really hurt over and have a hard time with. So in reference to Mel Robbins, she has these 3 pillars of friendship, and that is proximity, timing, and energy. And why I say that statistically my friendship with this childhood friend shouldn't exist is because in what Mel refers to as the great scattering, we've had great scatters when it was going from high school to college, and when it was going from college or post-high school curricular activities to the beyond. And we haven't lived in the same town in over a decade. We haven't been in the same life circumstance since then, since we were both in school and in Portland, Oregon, just figuring it out how to be ourselves without our parents in our own living spaces. We haven't been in the same life circumstance since then. And so how are we still friends? And there's this love, there's this trust, but neither of us holds too tightly to our current expectations of that person. And that, I believe, is why we are still friends. And so if we're reflecting on proximity, timing, and energy, none of those are working in our favor right now. and they haven't in a really long time. And frankly, we are in totally different stages of life, despite being the same age. She got married this last summer and it was beautiful. She immediately moved because she and her husband had both just graduated from med school. Like, her journey is just so awe-inspiring to me. But they moved across the country with none of their support system. They're both in residency as emergency physicians, and they both have a really crazy life right now. But she's in a totally different life circumstance. And her different life experiences of being in school and being in med school and not just out living a normal, air quotes, normal adult life until now, greatly shapes her view of the world. And my experience, having kind of tested everything under the sun the last decade, really just following my natural inclinations and my joy, and has landed me here, where I'm in a home in Washington with my partner and my kids and my dog, and I'm living a very suburban life right now. And so we've had these two dramatically different experiences that paint our perspective of the world, of events, of life. And to be able to still hold space for each other is really big. And I have other friendships that are a similar trajectory to she and I, and they haven't quite lasted the same. And that's not wrong. The tighter you hold on to your picture of what it, air quotes, should look like or could look like, the less air you give it to breathe. And so along the Mel Robbins lines of just let them not text you back. Let them cancel. Let them drift apart. Let it happen. Their time in your life was beautiful and important, and it can't be taken away from you. But you can take the beauty away from yourself if you choose to sit in the way it ended or the way it fizzled out, if it wasn't like to your liking or to your expectation. You can color those memories with something totally different if you hold too tightly to what it could or should be, or that it's not the same as it was. And moving into current day, I have a group of friends that I'm really thankful to have in my life, because the core 5 of them were living together in college. And then one of my friends from high school was floated in because she worked with one of these girls. And then I was floated in because we're all in town together and I had reconnected with Jess. But I am in the same proximity, timing of life, and a similar energy because we all have young kids. We all own our homes. We're all very lucky to live these lives we lived, but we did work really hard to get here. And these friends are deep and meaningful to me. I anticipate that these friends will be around for the long term. And if I hold too tightly to my expectations, if I hold too tightly to a text that wasn't replied to or an event that, it's just, you can suffocate it if you're not mindful. And there's so much inner development that can be done around the cultivation and maintenance of friendships, because the things that trigger you in others are usually mirrors. The things that trigger you in someone else's behavior or actions, whatever, those are typically things that you are insecure about in yourself. And if there is a circumstance that you've convinced yourself that something is true, or your fear starts kicking in, that false evidence appearing real, there's an episode where I discuss carefrontations, and it's this concept of just going into conversation with someone with a clear idea of what you'd like to get out of it. And there are a lot of, I think, adult friendships that fail or fizzle because of stories we tell ourselves. Because we've told ourselves that this person's mad at us, or that text meant something, or you don't know. You don't know. I personally am not a great texter. My closest friends know that. They know also that I am fully immersed when I am with them. If I am face to face with you, I am fully present with you. And if you text me randomly and I don't get back to you, I need a follow-up text. But let's say that you are in a situation on the other side of the table from me, and you read my lack of a reply or my quick reply as I'm mad at you, and you hold on to that, and then it happens again, and then it happens again, and I don't even know that that's a problem to you, or that it's something that you're having a hard time with. You could approach me and say, the story I'm telling myself is that you're upset with me because you haven't been replying to my texts, or because you didn't come to this event at my house, or because XYZ. I would tell you, oh my goodness, no. I get distracted. I leave my phone in random places. I'm so sorry I didn't text you back and that my actions made you feel that way. I'm sorry. And I'll try to be better, but I can't guarantee it. But just know that I'm not upset with you. If I were upset with you, I would talk to you about it. Or in regard to the event at the house or whatever, because there were multiple events when I was working through my Knives Down season, when I was working through my mental health stuff, I couldn't go to. And it wasn't because I didn't deeply want to, but more because the idea of, air quotes, getting ready was too big for me personally. And then the idea of getting my kids ready solo because my partner had been called out because he's in law enforcement was scary. And it was too much. And so I just sat in paralysis, and it was scary. I couldn't do it. And I can't necessarily expect anyone to fully understand that. But in the moments when they've asked, hey, what's up? I simply replied, I simply couldn't leave my house. I wasn't okay. It's not because I didn't want to go. And so in that energy, I hear the kids getting up and they're starting to talk to me. So I've got to sort of wrap this up. But I have friendships, new and old, that are doing pretty well. I have friendships, new and old, that just didn't make the cut for the particular season I'm in right now. And the first pillar of friendship being proximity. How often are you physically near this person? The group of girls that I mentioned, we all used to live kind of all around town. And then all of them moved within 5 to 10 minutes of each other. And that is so stinking cool. However, we are not in a position to move. So I live like 30, 40 minutes away from them, which relative to the distance I have between other friends isn't that much. But they are more inclined to see each other more frequently because they live on the same side of town. So the quick little park meetup, very natural. A quick little, let's grab our own dinners and meet up at so-and-so's house, totally natural. Whereas for me, it's a totally different level of effort to make that work. And that is a moment where we must let them. It is not personal. And if it is, that's not on you. And if you do want to be invited to specific things where proximity hasn't necessarily made it natural or common sense, tell them. Use a carefrontation. Discuss it. kindly and not aggressively or defensively. Then that second pillar is timing, the chapter of life you are in right now. And that's where I have friends currently, newer friends, that I'm in a totally different life stage, but our proximity and our energy is just right. And I have friends who are proximity and timing, great. But the chapter of life I am in is very different than my childhood friend who is in residency, is working 80-hour weeks. I am not doing that right now. I couldn't possibly understand. So there's that proximity, there's that timing, and then there's the energy. And you either click with someone or you don't. And there's a component of trust in yourself that, hey, our proximity and our timing was really good for a really long time. And like we were on the same sports team and all of those things, but our energy in our homes is just different. But that's occurred with one of my childhood friends, and the one that was here last week kind of gave me like a side eye about it. But I'm like, that's not wrong. Our proximity and our timing was on point for a really long time. Our energy was good to a degree. But as we entered into our adult relationships, as we entered into running our own homes and our own careers and all of these things, our energy just wasn't right. And that's okay. And the best part is that it doesn't have to be personal. It's okay. It's okay. If you don't feel like you have permission to let go of certain connections that are no longer serving you, I will give it to you here. I also want to encourage you to get the let them theory so that you can like really dive deeper into this. But she discusses why some friendships naturally fade and then what to do about it. And she discusses this idea of going first, of like when you're making new friends or rekindling an old friendship that has been on your mind, this habit of going first, this habit of being in line at the coffee shop and striking up a conversation, or texting first, or inviting to something. And maybe don't even just text, like invite actively to do something and get it on the calendar. Because one of the 20 lessons from my 20s on the very, very, very first episode was, if you actually want to get coffee sometime, put it on the calendar now. If you actually want to meet up, actually follow through in the next couple days to get it on the calendar. That is huge. That's freaking huge. Because so many of us run into someone from our past or whatever, and we do the oh my gosh, hi thing, and I'm just done with it. If you actually want to get coffee, put it on the calendar. If you don't want to get coffee or meet up and talk sometime, don't say that you do. Just say, this was great running into you. Goodbye. And it doesn't have to be personal. It's going to be okay. And let them think what they need to think because you've honored your time and your energy. Okay. That's all I'm going to throw out there for now because my kids are waking up and talking to me, and it has been expressed that there is something in a pull-up that I'm not going to want to clean up, but I'm the adult here, so I have to. Anyways, I love you guys, and see you in the next one. Thank you so much for being with me today. Friendship in adulthood isn't always easy, but it's so worth reflecting on. The beauty of connection often shows up when we release expectations, make space for evolution, and get honest with ourselves and each other. If something no longer fits, it's okay to let it go with love. And if you're craving something more, ask. Our friendships are shaped by how we show up and speak up. If this episode resonated, send it to a friend who might need it too. And as always, take care of you first. Because when you're fueled, everything changes. You're doing such a great job. Bye, guys.